Hello and welcome back to another out-of-spec detailing video here from Clear Detailing in Northern Colorado. Today we are talking about dilution ratios, how to get the most out of your car care cleaning products. Now I know for a lot of you this is probably a very elementary video, but genuinely there are a ton of people in the comment section of my videos that do not understand dilution ratios whatsoever. You might just not understand it in general, and you might be just confused by numbers. Going from metric to freedom units is confusing for you, not knowing what type of stuff you need to dilute your chemicals. I'm going to help you out with all of that and tips and tricks along the way. So welcome back to the channel. Let's jump into it. The first thing I want to start off here is understanding two main categories of detailing products. Number one is ready to use, and number two is concentrated. Now, a ready to use product might be something like this, all around surface cleaner from Kosh Chemi. They're going to ship you a bottle like this, typically with a sprayer on it. You look at the back of it, no dilution ratios. This is a ready to go product, so that's ready to use. The second type of product you'll purchase is something like this, which is a fully concentrated product you're going to have to dilute at home. Now, in general, I always recommend buying concentrated products. Reason being is it's more economical. Number one, the companies don't have to ship you a bunch of water across the country. That makes shipping weights more expensive. And in general, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck going for this. For example, if you look at another all-purpose cleaner compared to Kosh Chemi Green Star here, you might get a 32-ounce bottle for a couple bucks cheaper, but it's a ready-to-use product, where a product like this can make multiple bottles out of that same form factor there for much less money. So really important to understand that. The second question I often get about diluting products is, how strong should I actually use a product? Now, this principle in detailing is always going from least aggressive to most aggressive to actually get done what you're trying to do. And I think most people overuse their products and use them far too strong. You got to let the products do what they're intended to do here. So on the back of a bottle like this, on Kosh Chemi Green Star here, it'll say to use this between a 1:5 dilution ratio to a 1:30. I would start potentially somewhere in the middle. Work your way up to see what you're trying to accomplish with your car and figure that out. I can't tell you exactly with your car at home being what it actually needs, how dirty it is, all that type of stuff, what type of dilution you're actually going to need. So you're going to have to play around with that and figure it out for yourself. Now, one of the big tips here when we're actually diluting our products is to actually use distilled water. The reason being is our normal tap water here has lots of minerals in it, and chemicals like these that are heavily concentrated, you're diluting down, are actually going to go in there and try and break down those minerals, and they're already actively working. So by using distilled water with essentially nothing in it, the chemical is going to be at its intended strength. So always recommend using that. It's not 100% of the time you have to use it. You're just going to get a little less workability and overall probably cleaning power out of chemicals if you use normal tap water. I kind of mix and match here, to be totally honest with you. I'm not always using distilled, but especially if you're somewhere in like Arizona, Florida, you have really hard water. Those chemicals are going to be working inside the bottle against you, so highly recommend using distilled water. So it's important to understand, if you purchase a product like Kosh Chemi Green Star or any of the other heavily concentrated products out there, you absolutely do not want to use it straight out of the bottle. You're going to need something to put it in. Now, I have a couple recommendations here. A lot of people ask about my Press-All bottle wall up here. I absolutely love these bottles, love these sprayers. Genuinely, for 99.9999% of people, actually really 100% of people, these are completely and absolutely overkill. You purchase these because you really like how they look and you like the build quality of these. So these Press-All bottles, I'll leave in the link in the description below, but I'll also recommend some other very cheaper dilution ratio bottles. Some of them have some dilution ratios on the side. I personally don't like using that. I like to use measuring cups, graduated cylinders, things like that over here to mix my solution before I actually pour it in. That's my personal preference. What I would tell you to spend money on if you're a hobbyist, and especially if you have a lot of chemicals sitting around using pretty strong chemicals, is purchase some chemical resistant spray heads on here. So if you want to spend the money for Press-Alls, great. These things are awesome. They last a long time. But if you just want to purchase a normal, cheaper bottle, that's awesome. I would recommend getting something like a Tolco sprayer. They're much more chemical resistant. They're not going to break on you, after the chemical's been sitting in there a month, 2 months, you go to use it and it's just like absolutely nothing coming out. Now, one one thing I highly recommend when you purchase measuring cups, I'll leave these linked in the description below as well, is to get, number one, multiple sizes, and also get them with black on the side here so you can actually see what you're doing. Now you'll see some of these graduated cylinders over here. These are clear on the side, but these are actually very, very visible. And I think most people, when they purchase bottles over here, it's extremely hard to see the actual dilution ratios in them. That's again why I prefer using them like this. I also very much recommend getting a tiny little cup like this guy. So this is a 100 milliliter cup. We'll talk about metric versus freedom units here in a second. This is amazing for diluting our car shampoos, our pre-washes, even all-purpose cleaners as well. Very easy to read, very small, and works pretty darn well. Couple of other recommendations I would have here is having something like a funnel that actually screws onto the bottle here. So you can see I can tip that over, it doesn't fall off. These are absolutely amazing, so you're not spilling stuff everywhere. And then lastly over here, also made by Tolco, is their Pro Blend cap. So this is great if you purchase products in a gallon form. You can actually twist the top of this, well, twist this portion of it. This little green bar in here is going to move up or down. And as you can see on the side here, you've got all your measurements. So you can just squeeze this right out of the bottle, pop open the top, pour your solution in without having to use another measuring cup. So before I show you how to actually calculate our dilution ratios, we should understand which units are better to use here. Now, I live in the United States. I love miles. I don't really understand kilometers. I love freedom units for sure. But diluting our chemicals using the metric system is far more accurate. So I want to put up a little chart here on screen and walk you guys through different conversions here. So an ounce is 30 milliliters of solution. So if a product calls for 2 ounces, 60 milliliters of solution. A 16.9 ounce bottle over here, importantly, not 16 ounce, is 500 milliliters or half a liter. 33.8 ounces, which is what we see our Green Star in here, our foam cannons. This is also an important one to understand, 1,000 milliliters or 1 full liter. Now, a gallon over here is 3.785 liters or 3,785 milliliters. Now a 5 liter canister over here is 1.32 gallons. So understand the conversion ratios do make a difference, but I promise you when actually diluting these down, using milliliters makes it more consistent, more accurate. It's a heck of a lot easier instead of using a ton of decimal points. Moving into brass tacks now and how we actually dilute our products here. So I am going to leave in the link in the description below a chart that I've created for you guys for dilution ratios for 16 ounce bottles, 500 milliliter bottles, all the way up to 5 gallons with all the different dilution ratios. So you can print that out, you can laminate it, you can do whatever the heck you want with it. But if you want to know how to calculate it, it's actually pretty straightforward here. So let's say I want to make 1,000 milliliters of solution or 33.8 ounces in a foam cannon. And the product calls for a 5:1 or 1:5 dilution ratio. Now understand that smallest number is always our chemical, represented here with the red water. Now this is where I actually created the idea of making this video because people commented this in the comment section when I was diluting a product like this, walking through the dilution ratios. Now most people see a 1:5 dilution ratio in 1,000 milliliter solution, think, oh, that's pretty easy. I just take 1,000 milliliters, divide it by 5. That gives me 200 milliliters of solution, 800 milliliters of water. Nope, that's not how we dilute it here. You always take the numbers and combine them. So if it's 1 to 5, 1 plus 5 equals 6 here. So we have 6 total parts. Now the easiest way to calculate this, grab out your phone, grab your calculator, you're gonna type in 1,000, you're gonna divide that by 6. That's gonna give you 166.67. That is your single part, so that is our actual chemical solution. Then what you're gonna do is take that 166.67 times your other part, 5 here in this example, and that's going to give you 833.33 milliliters. So you can see we have 6 total parts here. It's very, very easy to calculate it, but also it's very different from doing it the way the commenter was doing it, because instead of 200 milliliters, we're only using 166.67. Big difference there. And this works for every single way you dilute products. Now, let's make this a little bit more complicated to show you how the math works. So we have a 750 milliliter bottle, or 25.36 ounces here. And let's say I want to take our Koshkemi Green Star here and dilute it at a 1 to 15 dilution ratio. So we take 1 plus 15, even if it's at 15 to 1, same exact way, that gives us 16 total parts. So what we're going to do is take 750 divided by 16. That's going to give us 46.875. That is how much Green Star we're using. Then you take that 46.875 times 15, and that's going to give us 703.125 milliliters of solution. Now, one thing you can do here, you can always round up, you can always round slightly down to the nearest milliliter. You don't need to get that granular, but I just wanted to show you the exact math here. So no matter what your dilution is, it is very straightforward to take the overall volume you're trying to create, add those two numbers together to get your total parts, divide that number into your total solution there to get how much product you're actually using into your water. Now, typically, when I actually like making solutions here, what I'll actually do, let's say again, I want 1,000 milliliters, I am going to fill this up to 833.33 milliliters of solution. So for here, going back to our 1 to 5 dilution ratio, I'm actually going to pour in all of my water first. The reason being is it's going to create less suds, especially when you're using snow foams, things like that. You don't want to put the soap at the bottom here. We're going to have our solution here, and then we're going to take our chemical, pour it right into here, and that's going to make our 1,000 total milliliters of our solution. It's going to be mixed up, ready to go. Now I would take this, pour it into my canister, and then make sure you absolutely shake it up. You want to make sure it's getting all mixed together there. Well guys, I hope this video was insightful and helpful for you guys to figure out how dilution ratios can be a whole heck of a lot easier than you actually think. Again, I think for most people, you just start looking at all these numbers, they get really confused going from metric to freedom units, and I will absolutely tell you, going to metric and utilizing that over using ounces, it just gets confusing. You get decimal points, it's hard to calculate, whereas milliliters make much more sense. And again, the cool thing here is if you actually need some help, canisters like this, they've got both of them. So you've got ounces, you've got quarts on one side, you've got milliliters and liters on the other. So that is super helpful. Always recommend having a little collection of these so you can make however much solution you're trying to make, whether it's only 500 milliliters, 1,000, up to 3,000. I mean, they've got larger and larger, whatever you need to make here. So really important to understand how dilution ratios can save you money by buying more concentrated products. And of course, there's nothing wrong with ready to use products, and I think a lot of people like those, but when you have the availability and option to purchase products of which you can dilute, save a lot more money, make a lot more product, that makes a lot more sense for people's wallet and not just getting shipped a ton of water when you can just dilute it at home. So always recommend, make sure you just go through, sit down, think about it, make sure you're taking your total volume there and those dilution ratios, you're adding those two together, dividing it. It'll make your life so much simpler. Promise you, don't get confused. Don't forget, I'll leave that chart linked in the description below for you guys to print out, keep at home. Also recommend as well, there is an app out on the App Store called DRC. It's for detailers, the quick dilution ratio calculator. I think you do have to pay a couple of bucks for it. I use it here at the shop because I'm just like flying, trying to get a car done sometimes and don't want to sit there and use the calculator. That's also super helpful. So I'll leave that linked in the description below and all the detailing related dilution chemicals here as well. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you in another one soon. Bye-bye.